Hello, Facebook. Hello, YouTube. If you're watching this live, hashtag live. If you're catching the replay, hashtag replay. I am feeling so emotional right now, and I will tell you why. So, this life is all about how to achieve consistent growth in your business. So, if you're watching this, either you're at inconsistent revenue or you're wondering, okay, what is actually the next step to continue growing my business, then this is for you. I do want to change the color because I want it to be beige. I don't know why it doesn't change my setting. ECB7. Yeah, this is a color and it's rounded. Perfect. So I just came off of a sales role play with my students. So if you don't know this yet, I'm a sales trainer and also a business developer. So I help women grow their online service based businesses. And next to that, I also have a master's in entrepreneurship. So in general, I'm just good with starting businesses, solving problems, all of that. Okay. So yeah, if you're watching this, hashtag live, or if you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. It's an energy exchange. So you give me likes, I give you value, I give you my energy. All right. So on Mondays we do DM implementation training. On Wednesdays we do sales role plays, and then on Wednesdays we talk more about lead generation, content, Q&A. But on Wednesdays, today's call was so powerful because I get to witness women growing in business ownership, right? So obviously I talk about sales a lot. I train people on sales because I know that sales is really the thing that moves the needle in business. And I feel so proud of the students inside the Identity Sales Accelerator because I get to witness where they were like when they entered and where they are now. So I'll give you a few examples and then I'm going to talk about how they actually get to this result. One of my students, when we started working together, she was in a place where she was having a lot of inconsistent income, and also her mindset and how she felt about the business wasn't like, I would say, in the most positive, because the more proof you have that something isn't working, the more it starts to mess with your self-belief and your self-trust. So because she's also committed to her vision, she's been wanting to work together with me for some time. Didn't really happen, but then she started to use the tips I was giving in my free content, and she was able to enroll a 3.5K client, and she used that to reinvest into the program. Within the first 30 days, she signed two high ticket clients and got to 8.5K in revenue. This isn't about the amount of money she made. This is about how she grew as a business owner. And she just said, I feel a bit overwhelmed by my growth because now I have four one on one clients. And in that moment, of course, you want to get into problem solving with people because, yeah, we are here to solve problems, to help you advance. But I was just so happy to hear that now she's dealing with this problem. It's not how do I sell or how do I go about signing clients or oh, I'm not sure if I trust myself. It's really a conversation of my business is growing. I have four private clients. How do I continue growing and how do I scale? That is the question at hand now. And do you know what a privilege it is to be able to ask yourself that question without having to worry about do I have the skill to enroll high ticket clients? Now the conversation is more about how do I develop my business. And this is exactly the type of transformation that I teach my clients to go through, right? And it's not only about learning how to send messages, what content to post, what conversations to have, but it's also that internal reliance that you have on your own capacity, and also that building that self trust of okay, I'm gonna take the next step now of growing my business further. So I was so proud of her, and I was like, wow, like I know that we're here to solve problems, but the fact that this is the problem now and it's no longer how do I go about signing clients is a big improvement, and it was not in a long amount of time. Mind you, she has been in business trying to sell her offers for over 3 years, so she has also built up some audience online. She knows how to do content. So these results didn't just come falling from the sky. A lot of the times, it's really that sales piece that people need to be able to take that next step in their business. So that's one example. The other example is a student that I have been working with since last year. I think it was November or October. I don't. Yeah, it was last year in November. We started working together. No, actually, I think it was October, and she came out with a brand new offer on the marketplace. So she was doing something else previously, and she wanted to add something else on top of the business she already had. So she's an experienced entrepreneur, and we started with a brand new offer. So whenever you're starting out with a brand new offer, the question is, hey, can I actually create proof that this is something that's going to sell? Does the market want this, etc.? So we went through that process together, and honestly, that process, the difficult part of it is that let me just close this. The difficult part of it is that you go through a phase of like, okay, I'm starting from zero, so I don't have the audience, I don't have the leads, etc. So we just went through that whole phase together of, okay, how are we gonna post content? How are we gonna generate leads? She sold it. She sold it to two people, but for an amount that wasn't really like, it didn't really validate the value in it. So it was around 2,000. 2,500, I think. She sold it to two people, and then it was really okay. Now I've proven to myself that I can sell this, but now it's like about, again, about business development. How do I go about growing this further? So we went deeper. She recommitted to the journey. We went deeper into her offer. We went deeper into her positioning, what makes her stand out compared to everyone else in this marketplace. Because let's be honest, like, especially if you have a business driven offer, what you sell is not new, right? But what you can bring to it is like a new way of looking at things. You can bring a faster way of looking at things. So we're talking about innovation. Okay, so innovation. So we went deeper there. She doubled the investment to 4K. Celebrated her 2 days ago for closing that 4K pay in full deal. Now she has a 6 week offer that we are going to roll out. She also brought out a sorry, I got distracted. She brought out her 6 week offer. We've been testing how she's going to get more inbounds, right? She posted something. A lot of people raised their hands, and now she's like, oh, now I have to go make it. And just looking at how she is going about developing her business, she is always taking action. She put out a sales page that was imperfectly done. Like some of the call to actions didn't weren't correct. I did the same thing with my offer because I'm not prioritizing perfection, I'm prioritizing speed, and I'm going to fix it along the way, right? But the most important thing is consistently thinking about, okay, where is the bottleneck in my business? She could see, okay, people are buying this, but maybe they're saying that is similar to what they've seen before. So let's go deeper in positioning. Okay, now I have that, but now it's lead generation. What do we want? More inbounds. Okay, let's create content like this so that we get more inbounds. Okay, we see that in the marketplace, like trust is a little bit low. So let's come up with new offers so that we can meet people where they're at. That's how you think about growing your business. And that's exactly the work that we do together. And I'm just so proud to see her, like, go from, okay, can I actually do this? Like, I remember those conversations that we had. And she asked me before she joined, she said, Aisha, do you believe in me? And I was so shocked that she asked me that question. And I need to send her that recording when she asked me that, do you believe in me? Look at where we are now, right? Like your business is developing. You have a clear positioning in its marketplace. You're one of one. People are paying you 4K in full, right? You're thinking about how do I scale this thing? That's business development. And the key thing about developing your business is sales. They both know that. Sales, because sales is the lifeline of your business. Without consistent income, you cannot continue investing. Without consistently being able to execute on sales activities, you're just gonna feel like crap. Okay, you're not gonna enjoy it. You're not gonna enjoy it. Another student as well. We've been working together for 8 months, I think, since September last year. She started out that she had sold her offer. It wasn't a high ticket offer once for 997. However, she was giving so much value in her group. So when we started working together, we just put together her high ticket offer and she got into high ticket sales. I had a session with her on Monday and she was like, "Oh, I'm reading Fanatical Prospecting." If you don't know Fanatical Prospecting, it's a classic B2B sales book that if you work for sales in a company, they'll be like, "Yeah, read Fanatical Prospecting because you have to understand the mindset of like, okay, what is the sales game actually? You know, sales is a process of getting in contact with people that are interested, moving them along that journey, and it just takes input on your end, right? So it's the same thing that we do here. We focus on action, we focus on having conversations with people, we focus on making the sales process our own. And she had brought up the word discipline. Discipline, okay? And this is what a lot of women need and a lot of women lack: discipline. It's that ability to turn off your emotions, to detach yourself from the outcome, and to just focus on the one thing you can control, which is your input. Okay, so your input meaning, I know that if I want to sign 5 clients, that I need to have 10 conversations, that I need to be able to convert, I don't know, 80% of them, right? So understanding your numbers and reverse engineering that and working according to that. It's honestly that simple. But that word discipline came up because she takes her business seriously. The women that I work with, they take their business seriously and they understand this one thing, that without sales activity, without focus, without consistency, what's waiting for you is flirting with your 9 to 5. What's waiting for you is planning your exit. It's really as simple as that. And I understand that sales is uncomfortable because for all of them, sales was uncomfortable. But for all of them, after being consistent with sales, what ends up happening is just part of who you are. You're not thinking anymore about, is this something I want to do? Is sales for me? La la la. It's just part of who you are. You're a business owner. You talk to people. You consistently sell. You book your calls. You think about new offers. You analyze your data, and you keep it moving. You grow your business. You invest in programs that help you scale. That's how it goes. People ask me all the time, "How did you grow your business so quickly?" And I made a short about this. I don't know when it's coming out, but essentially, I was saying, like, when I studied entrepreneurship, the number one lesson they taught us was this: your business, it's dependent on you being able to validate this core assumption, which is, are people consistently going to buy? Are people going to buy what I have? Can I consistently reproduce those sales? Right? And until you haven't validated that, your business, it's in danger. Because if you don't have consistent cash, and how do you pay yourself? How do you pay your employees? How do you invest in the software? How do you invest in growth? You can't do that without that cash. I mean, you can choose to eat away at your savings, but you know you're not going to be a happy woman. You're not going to be a sovereign woman. And I'm here to help women build sovereignty. I'm here to help women self actualize, and seeing them go through that process of not only developing their business, growing their business, but also thinking about, how do I grow this in a way that feels good for me? Talking about things like discipline. Do you know how that feels? Like, it's such an empowering feeling, and I want everyone to have that, right? So how do we get you there? So as mentioned, I'm going to do a sales consistency bootcamp, and the thinking process behind building towards consistency is because a lot of you already know what to do, right? You know you need to post content. You know you need leads. You know you need to qualify leads. You know you need to be having calls. You know you need to tackle objections. But still, your income isn't there. And a lot of the times, it's because that daily flow, that consistency, it being part of who you are, so being, that's what's missing. And people will yell at you, embodiment, embodiment, embodiment. I say, forget embodiment, focus on structure first. Because embodiment doesn't come by you just sitting and trying to feel your way through things, right? Whenever you're talking about alignment and like, "Oh, I just want to feel aligned," you cannot feel aligned if you don't have structure. So what you need is, you need that structure in your day. Okay, you need to have that structure, so you also know, okay, if one day I didn't get to doing all of these things, then what is it that I need to do the next day? Right? So in that way, you're consistently putting in that input. And now I'm going to share my screen to walk you through the curriculum of what we are going to do. So if you are already thinking that you want to join, but you're just not certain, please send me a message because I would be happy to answer your questions. And now I just want to change the background. Like, I really don't like, yeah, perfect. All right, ladies. So, the first week, it's really about the foundations for consistent sales. Look, when you come into this 4 weeks, I expect that you already have an offer. Either it's a 1.5K, 3K, it doesn't matter. We're not going to work too much on the offer. We're going to work on the positioning of the offer. So it all starts with essential content pieces that are going to speak to qualified buyers. And I was telling one of my students this just now, is that your content cannot be like, either too detail oriented or too surface level. You need to be able to speak about systems because that's what high ticket buyers invest in. They invest in systems. So that's what the content piece is about. And then it's about being able to identify those messaging gaps that is either confusing people or repelling those high ticket buyers because they are out there, but they're not going to relate to you if you keep talking about people that are stuck and people that don't know what they want, la 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 la, because they just don't resonate with that. So we're going to go deeper into all of those different gaps. And then it's about how do you speak with conviction in your content because people buy your energy. Like, I don't know who's watching this right now. I wish you would say hi. Or maybe it's one of my stalkers. Conviction is super important. I was also telling my students when we are in that phase of like tackling objections, handling objections, let's just call it that. People, it's more an emotional conversation. So if you shrink yourself in that conversation, if you start to stutter, I mean, it's fine, you don't have to be perfect, but if you're not clear on where you want to lead them to, they will feel that. And it's the same thing in your content. If you're hiding, if you're not going live, if you're just posting like a written text, people are like, I'm not gonna invest like 5K in this person. Like, who are they even? Okay, and then we're going to talk about how can you qualify leads and developing your own criteria for qualifying leads, and to tie all of that together to put it into practice, starting to tag your leads either on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, whatever platform you're on, so you know where each conversation is. So this is really the foundation. It's like, what is your messaging? How do you differentiate yourself from what's in the marketplace? And what is the content that you need to be generating consistently so you're having conversations with people? Okay, so this is also the materials that you get from me. Next week, the week after, so from June 18th to the 24th, we are going to go deeper into conversations that convert. So, conversations that convert, meaning how do you open up DM conversations, starting it in an aligned way? Because, look, if you're selling to women, women hate being sold to. Their sales resistance is going to be high. You're always going to get people who are going to block you because you send them a DM. How dare you send me a DM? There's a lot of people like that. But you're not like that. You're a serious business owner and you want to help people. That means you have to get comfortable with selling and you need to start conversations that aren't, hey, this is what I do. Do you want to buy my program? That's what a lot of you do, and that's why people don't respond to your DMs. I have a really high response rate in my DMs because I've been testing this for a long time. I've made a lot of mistakes in the DMs as well. People have blocked me, that's fine. I'll take it, but my vision is bigger than people blocking me, right? That's how I'm able to deliver you a proven system because I also test a lot of things in the DMs myself. So we're going to practice and implement DM openers that start a line conversation, and you will learn and implement the exact conversation to call bridge. So, hey, a lot of times people start conversations, maybe not the best way, but then they're like, I'm in the friend zone. We're just ping ponging back and forth. Oh, I love the piece of content you just posted. Oh, I love this. You went on a holiday. Good girl. And then you just become friends, right? But you're not a friend. You're there to lead them. So what is that conversation to call bridge? And then how do you follow up with people? Because, hey, life gets busy. Not everyone is going to get on a call right away with you. So how do you follow up with people without being desperate, without being pushy? Okay, that's very important to learn. And then we're going to talk about your daily rhythm for sales. Consistency. Okay. And look, it's not about intensity. I'll admit it. When you're learning sales, intensity is required because you're being stretched outside of your comfort zone. This is just science. I'm not making this up. Sorry about the chair, by the way. And then we are just going to talk about, but how do we build towards that consistency? And what are the things that are coming up? Because for women, a lot of the times there's a lot of emotions that is going to come up when you're doing the DMs. It's going to get uncomfortable, but that's why you're going to do this in a group of other women, and you will have me. Like, I went through all of these uncomfortable things. You don't want to know what I went through. I can tell you another time. And then we have DM mindset to cultivate resilience, and also how you're going to learn to not respond to negative reactions, and how you can read people's energies in the DMs. Because hey, it's not only reading someone's energy when you're in front of them, but the way they show up in the DMs, the way they talk about themselves, etc. It tells you where they are energetically, and also why that's so important. So that's the conversations that convert. And again, you get a bunch of resources to support you there, so you don't have to figure anything out on your own. And then in the third week, we're going to talk about sales psychology and objection confidence. So this is more about the sales conversation itself. And I will first give you the 5 step closing flow. So it's not going to require any pitching deck or anything, but what is the order of what are the components you need to be bringing up in a call so that you can empower someone to make a decision in that moment. And when they come up with objections, for you to understand what is actually going on psychologically, like what is happening, so that you don't panic in that moment, but you create the space for them to give you that empowered yes. So we're going to talk about how to handle objections, how to reframe objections, and also how to use simple buyer psychology to respond powerfully, never pushing someone. Okay, talking a lot. And then, and then the last week we're going to talk about your daily sales system and implement it together. So as you can see, it's really a build up of like starting with the foundations in content positioning, then talking about the conversations or the DMs part, what it is that you have to focus on. And then we have the sales psychology and objection handling piece. And then putting all of that together, it's going to result into your daily sales system. So what is that rhythm of content, DMs, and follow-ups? What is working right now and what's not working so well? So what I also tell my students is, look, I'm teaching you this system, I'm teaching you the frameworks, but also you have to realize like I'm implementing it in a way that feels good for me. So in the end, the goal is for you to sell like yourself. That's the only way sales is going to feel good and get easy. I'm gonna avoid that word ease, but you get what I mean. You're gonna feel good doing it because it sounds like you, right? And then it's more about the personal sales rituals. This is what a lot of people are missing in terms of consistency, because most people approach sales as like this intense thing they have to do, or they avoid it altogether because they're like, oh, I have to be someone I'm not. And I tell my students this all the time. No, you have to be yourself. You have to be yourself. And that also means finding like and creating those moments each day where you can have that connection with yourself, whether it's praying, whether it's meditating, whether it's doing intense workouts, whether it's journaling, whatever helps you to get connected with yourself so that you're able to always tap into your self confidence. The beautiful thing about sales is it's an opportunity for you to also work on your self esteem, because the reality of sales is that throughout the process, if we're talking about numbers, 3 to 10% is going to pay high ticket right now. So if you want to do high ticket sales, etc., you have to also accept that out of 10 people you speak to, maybe only 4 of them is going to say yes, and 6 of them, maybe the 3 of them is just going to be a disaster on that call. Hopefully not. And the other 3 aren't going to buy right now. So you have to normalize these things and not internalize it and create like narratives around how you're not good enough, etc., because it's just part of the sales process. And then what you're going to leave with is just a sales consistency tracker. So all your daily activities in content, DMs, and sales, that's the thing that's ultimately going to allow you to hold yourself accountable. Why? Because you can just open your tracker. Like as you can see here, I have daily KPIs, I have other sales KPIs here. I just open it up and I can hold myself accountable and I can say, hey, look, you said that this month you wanted to sign 2 high ticket clients, but your input wasn't aligned with that. So why is that? Right. And that's how it works. That's how we build consistency in our business. It's really by looking at that data and having that frame of I'm a business owner and this is what a business owner does. All right. So that's the sales consistency bootcamp. Join. Okay. If you are that woman and you're like serious about wanting to get to consistent revenue and cash in your business, this is made for you. If you already have an offer, but you just want to sell it more consistently, you want to know what you have to do each day and not doubt yourself, doubt your actions, or feel like you have to get, or keep downloading a bunch of freebies and just feel like overwhelmed, join this because this is really action driven. So I tell people all the time, I'm an action oriented coach. I'm not here to give you value and for things to click in your head and it all makes sense. I'm getting so much value, but I'm not making money. Like that doesn't exist over here. What I ask of you though is that you trust the process and that you put in the work. Okay. So this is what we're gonna do in 4 weeks. So you're ready for summer because a lot of people will say, "Oh yeah, it's summer. Is it the right time?" People don't buy. People buy. Last year in summer, I had my first 8K month. People bought. Not everyone is going on a holiday, right? And while everyone is going away, that's your chance. That's your chance. So you better grab it, but you have to be prepared. You have to be ready for that. And that's exactly what the Sales Consistency Bootcamp is for. So I'm going to leave the link in the comments, but it's also in my bio. So you just go ahead and you buy. It's only 550. And if you buy before Friday, you're going to get a complimentary one-on-one sales system audit with me so that you know exactly what the focus should be for you each of these weeks. So yeah, just buy. I'll help you if you buy. Okay, I have to leave now. But if you have any questions, you know where to find me. Okay, ladies? See you.